Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. So in my previous videos we have seen what is page object model design, what is a framework, why we require a framework, what are the advantages of a framework, and we have seen the overview of what are the components of a framework. So today we will concentrate on Excel code. So we will see how we read an Excel file, how we update the Excel file. So we will see this in detail. So let's begin. So for testing, for demo purpose, I am using this website Swag Labs. So we have a login page. Here we can see that we have a username field, we have a password field, and we have a login button. So as we know, like most of us writes our test cases in Excel. So if we see the Excel file, so we have a workbook. So here basically I have two sheets. So here I have written the login to application functionality, then we have adding product functionality and checkout functionality. So we have test suites according to the functionality, and we have status like it can be fail or pass depending upon our execution. Then I have a test case written for login functionality. So we can see here that we have username field, password, run mode. So we have like different username and password, so we can test with the different combinations of username and password for testing our application. So now let's see how we write our code. So if we are using a Maven project, so we have a pom.xml file. So this pom.xml file is very helpful file. So here all dependencies are written. So if we can see, we have Selenium Java dependency, we have TestNG dependency, we have log4j dependency, we have POI dependencies. So based on our application, we can write the dependencies. So we have MySQL dependencies as well. So to write the dependencies, we have to use this dependency opening and closing tag, and basically we can write dependency in this dependencies tag, and we can place all our dependencies which are required for our project in this dependency, and then just all the dependencies will be automatically downloaded, and we can use like all the files which we require for our code. So coming to our Excel code, so let's see line by line what we have. So I have declared here 4 variables: private, static, final, string. So we have string, numeric, boolean, formula, and we have initialized this to null. So what is like final keyword, we will see. So if I write any variable as final, so its value can't be changed. So that's why the variable becomes constant. So once I return this final, then I can't change these values in my further in my code. So when I declare any variable as static, so static keyword is basically used to access without creating the object of class. So I have to use these variables, so I don't need to create the object of class, I can directly access them. Now we have XSF sheet and XSF workbook. So as I have told that we have to use the POI API. So POI API, using the POI API we can basically read or write our workbook. So for this I have created a reference for XSF sheet as Excel LW sheet, and for XSF workbook we have Excel LW workbook. So now coming forward, so we have the logger coming from log4j API. So we can, this is very helpful. So we can log our execution status, and it is very helpful. So we using the log, we have to use the getLogger method, and just we have to pass the argument as the basically class name. So whatever the argument which we pass as a parameter, it will create a new log according to the class name. So if a new logger is created by this method, the log level will be configured based on the log manager configuration. So we will see this logging thing more in detail in our upcoming videos. Now moving forward, so we have this gets Excel data method. So the return type for this we have done as object array, and we have taken two parameter, Excel location and sheet name. So basically to access my Excel file, I have to provide basically the location. So if I see my location in my project, my data file is present in my project under source main resource data files and here. So basically to access this, I have to give the complete location and the sheet name for which I want to work. For example, I want to work on this login functionality, so I have to pass the sheet name as login functionality. So moving forward, we have a try and catch block. So the purpose of try and catch block is to handle the exception in Java. So whatever code which can throw any exception, so we write that in try block, and if any exception comes, then it will be catched by catch block. Moving forward, so now we have in try block we have declared the object array, datasets array, and we have initialized as null. So now the next step would be to read the Excel file. So to now read the Excel file, so how can we do that? So we can use the file class. So file class will create a file instance of the Excel file. So we have in the file class we have to provide the Excel location. So this will create an instance of the class, and we can pass this to file input stream. So file input stream, what it will do, it will basically reads the data from a specific file. It will read byte to byte, and it is usually basically read the contents of file with raw bytes such as images. So once we have created the we have read the file, so we have to, next step would be we have to create the workbook instance. So for creating the workbook instance, we have to pass the file input stream instance, and then the next step would be to get the sheet name. So here we have to use the get sheet method. So get sheet method basically will fetch the sheet using the sheet name. So we have to pass the sheet name. For example, I want to work on this login functionality to, so I have to pass the login functionality as the sheet name. Once we have like the sheet control, then we have basically count the number of active rows in Excel sheet. So to do that, we have to use the get last row num. So what it will do, it will basically get the total number of count, like from here to till the active number of cells. So for example 4 is the count, so it will fetch the total row count here. The next would be to get the active column count. So to do that, we have get row method and get cell num. So we have method chaining. So in get row we have get last cell num. So it will basically what it will do, I have passed the row as 0 and it will count till the last cell. So it will basically give me till here the active column count. So now what we have done is, like we have created the data set using the total row count and total column count. So if we see here, this column basically here there is no value here, so I will not consider this. So I have used these, we have to use these 3 columns. So to do that, total column minus 1. So my data set will be the total row and total column. So the next step, now we have to iterate over this over the sheet through rows and columns. So to do that, we have an iterator, so which is present in java.util package and we have to use basically sheet.iterator method. So what it will do, it will basically iterate all my rows one by one. So next is I have initialized I is equal to 0 because I have to keep the count every time. So we have created a while loop and we have used row iterator dot has next. So what it will do, it will go on till the last, this loop will go on till the last row has been reached, and it will increment the value of I, so that once basically the value has reached, so it will stop there. So for every row we need to iterate over columns. So to do that we will be using cell iterator, but before that we are using row iterator dot next. So what it will do, it will fetch every row one by one. So it will get the row one by one, and to iterate through cells we have a cell iterator dot method. So we have to use row dot cell iterator, and again we have to use we have to initialize variable j is equal to 0. And so as we have created a while loop for rows, we have to create a while loop for cell, because we want to iterate over cell by cell. So again we have to use dot has next method. So it will go on cell by cell, and it will cell by cell, and it will basically iterate through cells. And we have to use cell iterator dot next to get through like every cells, through every active cells. Then we have used a condition, if cell dot get string cell value dot contains login test. So basically this get string cell value will get the value of the active cell, and we have provided the condition if it contains login test, then basically I is 0 and break. So if we see here, so if we see these are the headers, so we don't want this, we want the values, because values are present from here to here. So we will be working on this area. So basically it's not required, so we will break. If we will get this thing, then we have to break. And moving forward, we have basically used the switch case statement. So basically if you see, then cell values can be a numeric value, a alphanumeric value, a string value, it can be anything. So based upon that we have used basically different cases. So that's why we have switch case statement. So we have to fetch basically get cell type enum, we have to use get cell type enum method. So what it will do, it will basically get the type of what is the type of cell value. It can be string. So if it is string, then we have to use the get string cell value. If it is numeric, then we have to use get numeric cell value. If it is boolean, then we have to use get boolean cell value. If it is formula, then we have to use get cell formula. And if it does not match in these criteria, then it will basically go to default, and we can log using logger that no matching enum data type found. And then after that we can return our data sets. Now let's see the next method. This method will basically update our results in Excel. So for example, this test case I have executed, and based on that I have to either pass or fail my execution. So it can be either pass or fail. So if I want to basically update the status, so that's why I have written this method. So basically it is taking various parameters like Excel location, sheet name, test case name. So I have to pass the Excel location sheet name. For example, I want to work now on this test suits, so I have to pass test suit as sheet name, then the test case name. For example, I have executed login to application, so I want to update the status for this, and test status, it can be either pass or fail. So now to achieve that, first of all we will be using the input stream, so it will basically read the sequential data from the source, and then we have to use the output stream to write the data to a destination. So as we have seen above, we have used this file input stream accessor workbook to load our Excel file, then getting the sheet name on the basis of sheet. So for example, I wanted to work on test suit, so I have to pass test suit as the sheet name. So we can use like get last row num. Now we are doing get last row num plus 1. Why we are doing? Because in the Java it will start from 0th, so this will be treated as 0th row, and this will be third. So total is basically 4, so we have to do plus 1. So sheet dot get last row num plus 1. Now we have to use for loop. So this for loop will go on executing till my total row number has been reached. So what we have to do is like we have to get row, then get cell, and get string cell value. So now if my get string cell value matches the test case name, so for example I have passed login to application, so if it is matches that value, then it will basically we have to create, what we have to do to update, we have to create the cell. So we will create the cell 1, and we can pass the test status value. So for example, pass or fail. So we will accordingly we can set the cell value. Then after that we have to close the file, and we can just update like result updated. Then the next step is important, because we want to update our result, because now we have created everything. Now we have to write this into our Excel file. So we have to use file output stream, and then in writing in our workbook we have to use dot write, and we have to pass the reference of file output stream, and then we have to basically close our output stream. So now let's execute the above methods one by one. So now I have created the public static void main. So we have created the instance of class by making the object of the class Excel reader, and then to get the location, basically I have to pass the location path. So if I see in my framework, it is present in my project in source main resources data file, and my file is present here. So for now, for example, I want to see what is the value in my data 1, row 1 and cell 1. So for example, in login functionality, I want to see what is present in 1 and 1. So if I see header is here, so my first row will be this 0th row, first row will start here, and first column will be this, because we have to ignore this. So 0 and first, so the value should be this one. So let's execute and see what we get. So we are getting this value FDD. So if we see here, we also having this, so it is fetching this value. So for now, let's see if we want to update. For example, I want to basically fail the application, fail the test case. So now again I will use this update result method, which we have discussed above, and we have to pass the Excel location, the sheet name, the test case name, and for example I want to fail the method. So now let's execute this. First of all, let me close my sheet. let me just remove everything from here and now close. And now let me execute this. Otherwise let me open the Excel again, sorry, Eclipse again. I think there is some issue. Yeah, open. So now let's execute this. So result updated. Let us check what it has updated. So if we see here in our Excel sheet, it has updated failed, so it is working fine. So if we observe here in console, so we can see that there is a date, time, the file name, and nicely it has updated the status, the logging. So this is that's why we can use the Log4j API. So we will see in our upcoming videos like how can we configure Log4j API, how can we use that. So if you like the video, please like, share and subscribe, and please stay tuned for upcoming videos. Thank you.